So are we gonna miss Russ, Ryan?
I have not heard anything.
Okay, so he's gonna be on his route in the Capitol.
I would assume he'll probably walk in at 5:34.
Okay, you guys ready?
Did you get a weird email?
Time to convene the February 4th city council meeting.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There he is. Just getting ready to sign in. I know Councilman Sandagger's out of town.
Got his weather glasses on.
Yeah, the two youngest guys at the dais finally have to get glasses, so you guys are getting old.
Four members present.
All right, any changes to the agenda, Ryan?
There are no changes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Approval?
All right, please vote.
Four yes.
All right, item 2 is citizens forum, which is the time for anyone in the audience that would like to address the city council on any items that are not part of public hearings, which is item 6, or new business item 7. All right. Seeing no one, we'll move on to mayor, city council, city manager, and other entity updates. Kevin.
Nothing this time.
Chris.
Oh, a couple updates from me. Number one, F&A met January 23rd and took up a number of issues, some of them of which are on the agenda, including the osmium water supply. Actually, I'm not sure that one's on the agenda, but financing, as we've done, I believe, in the past, the city's going to provide some of the funding to build the water supply, and we're going to enter into an agreement with Waterworks to get us repaid on that. We also finished up doing interviews, I guess, talking to organizations that were applying for hotel motel tax. We had a number of organizations apply. I believe we had 3 or 4 brand new organizations that applied for funding. All total, we're recommending about $386,000 be awarded to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about 13, 14 organizations, and you will see those recommendations come before you shortly. Also, really quickly, an update on DART. We are going to be, the commissioners of DART are going to be approving the budget coming up very shortly. To maintain the existing service levels, DART's baseline expenses will be increasing by approximately 4% above the baseline expenses. The proposed budget includes funding for a long-range transit plan, as we've requested it modernize the service delivery of DART, talking about whether or not Uber and Lyft vouchers and maybe right-sizing the buses and looking at other modes of transportation would be possible, incorporating into the DART model. So there's money in the budget for that. DART's also facing, and this you may or may not be aware of, a current shortfall in revenue every year of about $500,000 due to the Medicaid system and the changeover to managed care. There is a situation where rides are being coded one way and they should be coded another way, and as a result, we're losing about $500,000 in revenue every single year. We've been, our DART lobbyists have been talking to the legislature about addressing this loophole, I guess, and we're hopeful that we'll have some kind of a change this year through the legislature. So basically, to address the shortfall in funding, to do the study like we want, to modernize the services, that's a 4% increase or a 1.35 cents in the levy. But they have also requested what I thought was some very prudent staffing increases in some key areas, including in planning, as well as electric vehicles, IT, and Medicaid billing, because I guess the Medicaid billing situation takes one person a pretty long time to be able to figure all this stuff out. So with that, the total increase in the levy would be 2.5 cents. I thought it was a pretty reasonable, lean budget. Of course, you hate any time that the levy rate's going to go up to provide services, but you know, with that Medicaid shortfall and some of the other needs that they have, that's what they're looking at for their budget.
All right,
That's it for me.
John?
Yeah, I attended Bravo on Saturday, not as a guest of West Des Moines, but as a guest of a business associate of mine. And Councilman Sandegger was I guess he's the chair of Bravo this year, so he had some MC responsibilities and did a good job. He kind of used his radio voice a little bit up there, so did a nice job. So anyway, it was good exposure for West Des Moines and painted us in a good light. So I was proud to see that. One other thing, Councilwoman Hardman and I had development and planning this morning, and item, I think it's 5A on our agenda tonight, is the garage requirement, which I assume is going to get pulled, but staff has put together a good plan there for kind of a good plan forward based upon our discussion that we had 2 weeks ago. So we were both in support of that and looking forward to having that come back forward to the full council. And that's it.
All right, Renee?
Thank you. I also would like to share that as an elected official, it's not what we do in these seats, but what we do in the community to represent West Des Moines. And I was very proud to be speaker for several Martin Luther King Jr. activities. For a couple of, one was a municipality and one was at a local college. So very proud to represent the city of West Des Moines and carrying the message about what that holiday means for all of us in this chamber. And we'll be speaking at Southwoods, a school for Black History Month, as their keynote speaker for their program as well. Attended the library trustee meeting and hear lots of great things going on at the library and circulation being up and all the great things going there and some strategic kinds of things that they're planning for next year as well. And then I just got back this morning from a sister city trip with West Des Moines school members, school district members, and leaders from the business community, and represented city council, and report on that before coming. It was a very educational trip, visiting some enterprises there that have interest in looking at West Des Moines. And I'd like to just conclude on a personal note to congratulate Councilman Trevelyan on his retirement after 31 years at West Des Moines. Very few folks can say they've been on a job for 31 years these days. So congratulations. Sorry I missed your retirement party. That's quite a feat to be at one company.
Thank you. All right, Tom.
No report, Your Honor.
Okay, item 4 is the consent agenda. Any council member want to pull any item? Otherwise, I'll take a motion for all of them.
I'd like to make an addition to the minutes.
Okay. So why don't we get a
I'll
motion
move-
for all
I'll
of them
move
at
the
A?
remainder.
Okay.
Second.
All right, please vote.
Four yes.
All right, so 4A, Renee, is a motion to approve the minutes of the January 21st council meeting.
Yes, I just would like it added in the minutes that, and it is regarding the ordinance regarding the garage, and that I did speak passionately about my interest in making sure that we on this council look for opportunities to really make sure that we are providing opportunities for everyone in this city, everyone with different income levels, and making sure that they can afford homes that for their families, and being creative in ways in which we address that. I think the garage ordinance is one of those. And again, I just wanted it for the record that I spoke about the need for us to really be creative, think outside of the box, not paint everybody with a broad brush, and understand all the complex needs of all the citizens that live in West Des Moines. And I'd like that reflected in the minutes.
Okay, you want to move it with that addition?
I move it with that addition to the minutes.
Okay. All right, please vote.
Four yes.
All right, item 5, old business. 5A, amendment to City Code Title 9 zoning, Chapter 5, agricultural, open space, and residential zoning district. In Chapter 10, performance standards, eliminate garage requirements for multifamily condominium regime developments. City initiated, this was continued from the December 10th, 2018, December 26th, 2018, and the January 21st, 29th City Council agendas. It's an ordinance for the second reading. And John, you guys, you and Renee, this was part of your council committee meeting this morning?
That's correct. And I think staff will be coming forward with a formal recommendation. So I guess the appropriate thing is to yeah, continue.
Do we
this.
continue?
Mr. Mayor,
Okay. Or do we
I
do
just want to
second
clarify,
reading?
this
and-
is for multifamily as opposed to single family. So
Okay.
we were just going to move this through.
Okay, so this
So
is,
it's not even on there, okay.
right, so this is just for the apartments, multifamily.
Right.
Right, yeah, we should have clarified that,
And
sorry.
it says there's no other issues regarding that piece of it, so someone want to move the second reading?
So this will simply be that multifamily residential will not be required to have garages.
Which that wasn't in the scope of.
No.
Right.
Okay. I'll move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other questions or comments? All right, please vote.
Four yes, an ordinance amending the city code of the city of West Des Moines, Iowa, 2014 by amending Title IX zoning, Chapter 5 agricultural open space and residential zoning district, and Chapter 10 performance standards to eliminate garage requirement for multifamily condominium regime developments.
Move approval of the first reading.
Second.
Second reading. All right.
I'm
please vote.
second reading, sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Four yes.
All right, item 5B, 5940 PUD southeast corner of University Avenue and 60th Street. Amend the plan unit development to allow additional building height on parcel D within the PUD Iowa Clinic West Lakes 1 LLC. This is approval of the second, third reading, final adoption. There are no changes.
Move consideration of second reading.
Second.
Any other questions or comments? All right, please vote.
Four yes, an ordinance amending the city code of the city of West Des Moines, Iowa, 2014, and ordinance numbers 1329, 1458, 1746, and 1880 pertaining to PUD district regulations and guidelines.
Move consideration of the second reading.
Second.
All right, please vote.
Four yes.
Move waiving the third reading and adopting final form.
Second.
All right, please vote.
Four yes.
Item 5C, amendment to City Code Title II, Boards and Commissions, Chapter 12, Bicycle Advisory Commission, Section 2, Membership Appointment Term. Decrease the number of commission members from 9 to 7. City initiated. This is an ordinance for the second, third reading, final adoption. There are no changes.
Move consideration of the second reading.
Second.
Questions or comments?
I do have a question. Is this to be consistent with other commissions or?
Yeah, most of them-
Interests of names that people want to serve, because we're constantly getting interest from people wanting to serve on a board of commission and,
Yeah, I think all the other boards and commissions have 5 to 7,
okay,
and this is going to be just more in consistency with the rest of them. I think Park and Rec staff doesn't have concerns that they're not going to get 7 good members that you can have all the issues discussed. So this
Okay.
is just kind of a more or less a consistency issue, yeah. And it's good timing because 2 of the current commissioners will end their term on March 31st. So we can,
okay. My thought is that if there were some folks that have expressed an interest in serving, they live here in West Des Moines, can add value, it'd be great to do that. So I could support consistency, but, you know, again, if there's people that are raising their hand to serve, we should be accepting and wanting them to serve.
right? So, but I actually think Sally's group brought this forward as a part of the conversation, right, Sally?
Sally Ortges, Director of Parks and Recreation. Yeah, Mayor Gare did let you know that we do have 2 people rolling off March 31st. I have not seen any huge interest at this time. I think back when the commission was established, we did have a fairly large group that had been serving on a committee. And I believe that's why the number was so large at that time, so that all of them could be included on the commission. Over the years, some of those original people have just, started dropping off. And so I think we are perfectly fine with the 7.
Thank you. I just wanted to raise the question in case there was some people in the wings waiting to serve, so.
Okay, please vote on the second consideration of the second reading.
Four yes, an ordinance amending the city code of the city of West Des Moines, Iowa, 2014 by amending Title II, Boards and Commissions, Chapter 12, Bicycle Advisory Commission, Section 3, Membership.
Move approval of the second reading.
Second.
All right, please vote.
Four yes.
Move waiver of the third reading and adoption in final form.
Second.
All right, please vote.
Four yes.
5D, Amendment to City Code, Title 6, Motor Vehicles and Traffic, Chapter 9, Traffic Schedule, Section 5, No Parking Zones, 94th Street, University Avenue to Bishop Drive on the west side, and 96th Street, University Avenue to Bishop Drive, west side, city initiated. It's an ordinance for the second and third reading, final adoption. There are no changes.
Move consideration, second reading.
Second.
Questions or comments? All right, please vote.
Four yes, an ordinance amending the city code of the city of West Des Moines, Iowa, 2014 by amending provisions pertaining to the traffic code relating to official traffic controls.
Move approval of second reading.
Second.
All right, please vote.
Four yes.
Move waiving the third reading and adopt in final form.
Second.
All right, please vote.
Four yes.
All right, item 6, public hearings. Item 6A, this is the time and place for a public hearing to consider Continental Plaza, 7300 West Town Parkway, rezone approximately 1.08 acres from professional commerce park to support commercial, initiated by Penna Partners LLC. Ryan, would you please read the date the notice was published?
January 18th, 2019 in the Des Moines Register.
Received any written comments?
The Planning and Zoning Commission, by a vote of 6 yes, 1 was absent, adopted a resolution recommending approval of the rezoning request, and there was also 1 correspondence received that was laid out on the dais here tonight.
Yeah, it's in about 4-point font. We just got it when we got here this afternoon.
Well, and maybe, let me see if there's anyone, I want to visit a little bit about this, because Chris Costa wrote this letter. I mean, they're raising concerns on behalf of Knapp Properties, but he's on planning and zoning, and he wasn't absent, so did he vote for it?
Yeah.
So that's what's confusing to me, and I know Lynn's not here. I don't know if someone, did Chris raise concerns with it at planning and zoning?
Given the timing, I'm wondering if they didn't figure out concerns until,
This thing's dated today.
yeah, exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
like, today, they might have figured out that there's an issue. Because I didn't hear anything about it before.
Linda Schimmel, Development Coordinator. Chris did ask a question during the discussion, and the planner, Brad Mumford, did answer the question. And then Brad also followed up with the actual documentation that basically followed up with the discussions that we had had with Knapp Properties when they looked at both that property and the adjacent property as far as the interconnect.
And saying there they were not notified of the driveway, that's what their issue is in this? They didn't receive a notification this was happening, so they weren't given time to be able to comment, and I'm just trying to make my way
The
down through this.
requirement for the connection would have been for the property next to Knapp Property. And Knapp Property had looked at that parcel. They also had the parcel next door, and they looked at that twice through the pre-application process. All 3 of those reviews with Knapp Properties, we mentioned the interconnection.
Okay,
Your Honor, I think we ought to defer this for
I agree.
a couple of weeks to
Okay.
have more time to study this and get some facts on it.
Okay,
I agree.
all right, so someone, you wanna-
I want to move to defer it for 2 weeks.
second.
all right, and we'll wait and take public comment and the public hearing in 2 weeks.
Okay, is there any specific follow-up you would like on this?
Well, I think it'd be nice to have the Knapp Properties come in along with the applicant.
Okay,
I mean, there's some strong language in this letter. Will cause grave hardship. And so I think we need to get the Penna Partners folks and you guys and Knapp's group in the same room and try to work through these issues to find out, is there a way to solve them, and is it as big a problem as I guess they're suggesting it is?
It might be fine. We just need a chance to get through
Right.
this and digest it.
Yeah.
Do we want
It's
to
a
send
lot
it
of
to
information.
development and planning, or do we just have
Let's
them meet
let
with
them-
staff?
Yeah, I mean,
Planning and
you're dealing with sophisticated people. I don't know that we need to
Yeah.
Okay.
delay it anymore. I think you just
I
sit
think
down, work through it, and then share with us what the outcome is.
And maybe if both of them can be here in 2 weeks to
okay.
talk about it.
So we want them, development and planning prior to the council meeting?
No,
It's
staff.
right here, so I'll make sure that
Work it
they
out
can.
with staff and then come to the council
And-
meeting in
and if-
2 weeks if we've got questions.
Right, and if it doesn't, and if they didn't get it worked out, they probably need to be here so that they can both present their issues.
Okay, we'll reach out to Net Properties and get together with them and make sure they can be here at the
Okay.
next meeting.
All right.
Thank you.
So, Aaron, you want to, let's make sure that there's not, I mean, this is the first reading, so it's going to take another council meeting anyway.
Good evening, Erin Olendike, Civil Design Advantage. My address 3405 Southeast Crossroads Drive, Suite G in Grimes. Also present tonight is Travis Sisson and Jim Goki, who are here on behalf of Penta Partners LLC. So we have not received any correspondence, I guess, from NAP. There was a question raised about the connection. I can show an exhibit that shows what they're talking about. Can you see that?
They'll get it switched.
Yeah, they'll show it over the screen that we have.
Oh, there we go. So the rezoning in question tonight is for this hard corner here, and the connection they're talking about is right in through here. And so that connection actually doesn't exist today. The pavement stops right here. So for when our site plan was brought forward, we agreed to have the connection someday when it's needed. It's in relation to a future requirement that this might be closed off. So.
Let me ask you, Aaron, is your client going to be prejudiced if we wait 2 weeks to have the first reading? I mean, it's very unusual for us to get from somebody, a sophisticated developer, a letter that suggests a grave hardship.
And like I said, we just got
Yeah,
this now.
so did we. That's part of the challenge. That's why I asked, since Chris is on planning and zoning.
Travis Sisson
Yep.
with Penta Partners, 5700 University Avenue in West Des Moines. We do have some timing issues associated with this, with the potential tenant for that piece of property. This is news to us, as that connection is not even being made or being asked to be made at this point. So we're a
again-
little confused how he voted for it and now is objecting at the last minute.
I think that's what we're going to try to get an
Right,
understanding
that's why we need
for,
to
but
get this-
Is a 2-week delay in your first reading going to be a problem? Because we were going to have the second and third reading in 2 weeks anyway.
So you're saying in 2 weeks you do the first, second, and third, or
No.
delay 2 weeks?
No.
Mr. Mayor, I might suggest we could have the first reading, and then you could make the consideration of the second and third in 2 weeks.
Well, but I'm going to have to keep the public hearing open.
Right.
Because the objectors aren't here.
Um,
So.
I think it needs to wait 2 weeks.
So I mean, so is an additional 2 weeks going to be a problem for your tenant?
It's a timing issue, yes. Every delay at this point is a timing issue with giving delivery, honestly.
Well, could we approve it and reopen the public hearing?
Oh, we could, yeah, I mean, I'm going to leave the public hearing open, so we could do the first reading, leave the
Okay.
public hearing open, but I guess you guys, we're not sure what's going to happen in the second or third reading.
Right.
Okay. Well, I'd move consideration of the first reading then.
Yeah, I mean, this first time it came to development planning was March 5th of 2018. It's almost a year ago. Okay, so remind me who made the
I
made the
move
motion.
consideration.
Well, I'm
Oh,
going to
you
withdraw
defer.
the vote to defer it for 2 weeks, I guess, although I still think that's the
No,
best option.
Withdraw the second. And then I will move to consider the first reading.
All right, someone want to second that? And keep in mind, we're going to keep the public hearing open, and so if there's changes that need to be made, they can be made at the next meeting.
I'll second it, but you need to understand that everything can change in
Understood.
2 weeks. So.
Okay, please vote.
Five yes, an ordinance amending the official zoning map in the city code of the city of West Des Moines, Iowa. I'm sorry. 2014 by amending Title IX zoning, Chapter 4, zoning districts and map.
Move approval of the first reading.
Second.
All right, please vote.
Four yes.
And I guess, Linda, if you need the council subcommittee involved between now and the next council meeting, let them know.
Okay.
I mean, I guess what we want to try to find a resolution that
Yeah, I
everybody
think
can
it needs to get
support.
ironed out within 2 weeks.
Okay. All right, item 6B, this is the time and place for a public hearing to consider Cabell Properties, 655 South 88th Street, consistency zone approximately 8.37 acres from unzoned to high-density residential, initiated by the city of West Des Moines. Ryan, would you please read the date the notice was published?
January 18th, 2019, in the Des Moines
Have you
Register.
received any written comments?
Planning and Zoning Commission, by a vote of 6 yes, 1 was absent, adopted a resolution recommending approval of the rezoning request.
All right, now would be the time for anyone in the audience who would like to address the city council on item 6B. Please share your name and your address with us.
My name's Marilyn Mueller, Mueller, and my address is 8820 Mills Civic Parkway. And we live by the little cemetery in the middle of the road, so it's right there at the intersection of 88th and Mills Civic Parkway. And so our property borders on this development, and I'm not here opposing it or anything like that, but I do have several requests as you consider this proposal as it moves forward. So,
Ms. Mueller, can I ask you, because I was looking at the comments, and it looks like a lot of your concerns relate to the actual site plan itself. This is just the rezoning.
right.
So
the
we're
lighting.
happy to take your comments. It's probably better if we got them with the actual site plan as they come forward. So, but if you'd still like to share them, this is really limited just to the issues of whether or not it should be rezoned and not site plan issues.
Right.
Okay.
Well, I'm not a sophisticated developer.
No.
So every opportunity where our property is affected, why I just felt like it was a smart thing to do and to put it on your radar
Sure.
screen.
Okay.
And so,
right.
and the staff person has communicated with me, but I want to make sure that as this development moves forward, I don't think we know the timeline or anything,
No.
but that our concerns are recognized.
Sure. Okay. Please share them with us then.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are your concerns
Yeah.
about this?
Please give us your list of concerns and we'll take them tonight too. And then,
Well, since we have a residential use for our property, and from what I understand, though it's not certain, 4 apartment buildings, 36 units each, are planned for the adjacent property. Why some of my concerns are light pollution, so, and then proper berms and separation between that development and our land. So
Okay.
those are the 2 primary concerns.
okay, and we'll make sure that obviously the staff knows that when the application comes in, the pre-development meeting, we'll make sure that we raise those, and then you'll get notice the actual site plan itself, so that we can see how that's being addressed.
Okay, great.
Great,
Thank you
thanks.
so much.
you.
Thank you. Thank you for.
Anyone else in the public like to address the council on 6B? Okay, I'll declare the public hearing closed. It's an ordinance for the first reading. Dick, make sure I understand, consistency rezoning, that sounds like the comp plan has it designated as high density, and the city just hasn't zoned it that yet.
That's correct.
So this is kind of misleading to people who've dealt with it before. They think we're changing the zoning.
Right, no, it's just, as you know, the comp plan is kind of our outline, and it lays forth what we plan on doing with the zoning, the land uses, and then the zoning is just more specific,
But
so.
but we are changing the zoning from unzoned.
Unzoned, yes.
Unzoned to
Right, it was in the
high-density
county.
residential, but on the comp plan, the land use
Right.
is consistent with what we're doing.
And our jurisdiction with the comp plan is always greater than the zoning, so the comp plan would suggest before we even got out there, before it was annexed, that it was going to be this type of use. So now that we do have jurisdiction over it, the zoning is just going to be the second layer that says this is actual zone.
And we would have had a lot of public hearings on the comp plan.
Right.
Like I told you, 11 at P&Z and 11 at council. But I guess we're going to get in the process now of updating our comprehensive plan. So I think our suggestion would be if we make any land use changes on the comp plan, if it's within the zoning jurisdiction of West Des Moines, let's do the consistency rezoning, the meeting after the comp plan. So these big lags in time cause people to think that we're,
Changing something.
yeah. Okay, so it suggests there's no other outstanding issues since it's just a zoning change, and it came through Development and Planning Subcommittee as well.
Move consideration of the first reading.
Second.
Any other questions or comments on the first reading? All right, please vote.
Four yes, an ordinance amending the official zoning map in the city code of the city of West Des Moines, Iowa, 2014 by amending Title IX zoning, Chapter 4 zoning districts and map.
Move approval of the first reading.
Second.
All right, please vote.
Four yes.
6C, Grand Valley, generally located at the northeast corner of South 35th Street and Grand Avenue, amend the plan unit development to modify miscellaneous residential bulk area standards. Russell Plug, CRVP LLC. It's an ordinance for the first reading. Brian, would you please read the date that the notice was published?
January 18th, 2019 in the Des Moines Register.
Have we received any written comments?
The Planning and Zoning Commission, by a vote of 6 yes, 1 was absent, adopted a resolution recommending approval of the PUD amendment.
Okay, now would be the time for anyone in the audience who would like to address the City Council on item 6C. Seeing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed, and it's ordinance for the first reading, and it says there's no outstanding issues.
Consideration of the first reading.
Second.
Questions or comments?
I just have a comment to try to figure out what exactly it is that we're doing here. We've dealt with this parcel of land before.
Linda
I'm just-
Shinamo, Development Coordinator. What we're doing is within that parcel, there was an area that allowed both single-family detached and duplex or triplex homes.
Okay,
And they have a developer interest in that area. What they would like to do is modify how we apply setbacks so they can really get more effective use of the yards. So on the side yards, instead of equal ones, we're allowing them to push the building over, so it's a 5-foot minimum one side, 7 on the other.
Okay.
And then pushing the house up front, closer to the street, so they have a more usable rear yard.
and I have to ask, where specifically on this lot or on this land are we doing this? Because this is I got a lot of sensitivity to this piece of land near Thornwood. I mean, is this along South 35th Street? Are we moving things closer to South 35th Street, further away? Is this more towards the neighborhood to the north of it? Glenwood and Scenic Vista, Valley View?
We're moving it away from 35th Street.
Okay. I mean, as I said last meeting, these guys were very good and worked with us, and they didn't have to on this parcel of land, but I just want to make sure I know 100% what we're doing, so that if I get a question out of Thornwood, I can explain this to them, and,
I think if there were concerns, you would have heard from people by now.
well,
Did we have very many people at Planning and Zoning, Linda?
No, we've had some phone calls, but nobody came at Plan Zoning
okay.
District.
So we're making the side yard setback smaller.
Yep, so it's these two parcels here.
Okay.
And so the lot width is not changing as far as minimum. We're just
Okay.
allowing them to shove it over a little bit farther.
Closer to South 35th Street.
Yep, and then there will be a street that goes through here,
Okay.
and we're allowing that front yard to get closer. So it's
But the rear yard, which will be South 35th Street, is farther away.
correct. There'll be a larger rear yard. They also have a buffer along South 35th.
Okay.
And you're not changing the buffer up to parcel A, right, or the distance?
No, we're not changing anything parcel A with this action.
Okay, so that's probably Russ, why we're
Perfect.
not hearing from a lot of
Yep.
people.
Yep. Thank you, Linda. I appreciate it.
Okay, please vote.
Four yes, an ordinance amending City Code of the City of West Des Moines, Iowa, 2014, and ordinance numbers 2075 and 2195 pertaining to the Grand Valley PUD.
Move approval of first reading.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, please vote.
Four yes.
Item 6D, the council's being asked to continue that to the March 4th city council meeting.
Move continuation.
Second.
All right, please vote.
Four yes.
Item 6E, this is the time and place for a public hearing to consider amendment number 6 of the Jordan Creek Urban Renewal Area initiated by the City of West Des Moines. Ryan, would you please read the date the notice was published?
January 25th, 2019, in the Des Moines Register.
Have we received any written comments?
None, Your Honor.
All right, now be the time for anyone in the audience who would like to address the city council on item 6E. Seeing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed. This is a resolution to approve the Urban Renewal Plan Amendment, and there are no outstanding issues, and it came through Finance and Administration Council Committee.
Move approval of the resolution.
Second.
Questions or comments? All right, please vote.
Four yes.
Item 6F, this is the time and place for a public hearing to consider agreement for private development initiated by the City of West Des Moines. Ryan, would you please read the date the notice was published?
January 25th, 2019, in the Des Moines Register.
Have we received any written comments?
None, Your Honor.
All right, now be the time for anyone in the audience who'd like to address the City Council on item 6F. All right, seeing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed. It's a resolution to approve the agreement, and this is for the renovation of the existing facility or building at 5058 Grand Ridge Drive.
Move approval.
Second.
Questions or comments?
It's going to be a great project. It's going to be a good remodel of that building and decent amount of jobs, high-paying jobs coming to West Des Moines, so really appreciate this.
Okay, please vote.
4 yes.
6G, this is the time and place for a public hearing to consider the 2018-19 fiscal year operating and capital budget amendment number 3, initiated by the City of West Des Moines. Ryan, would you please read the date the notice was published?
January 25th, 2019, in the Des Moines Register.
Received any written comments?
None, Your Honor.
All right, now would be the time for anyone in the audience who would like to address the City Council on item 6G. Seeing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed. This is a resolution to approve the budget amendment number 3, and it came through Finance and Administration Council Committee.
Move approval.
Is there a second? Questions or comments?
I was just going to say, there's a lot of reclassification of funds dealing with moving Westcom to an enterprise fund and making some other minor tweaks, I guess.
Okay, please vote.
Four yes.
6H, this is the time and place for a public hearing to consider the South Grand Prairie Parkway, Stagecoach Drive to Mill Civic Parkway, initiated by the City of West Des Moines. Ryan, would you please read the date the notice was published?
January 25th, 2019, in the Des Moines Register.
Have you received any written comments?
None, Your Honor.
Right, now would be the time for anyone in the audience who would like to address the City Council on item 6H. All right, seeing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed. This is resolution approval of acquisition of agricultural property.
Move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Questions or comments? All right, please vote.
Four yes.
6I, this is the time and place for a public hearing to consider Grand Avenue, South Jordan Creek Parkway to South 88th Street, initiated by the City of West Des Moines. Ryan, would you please read the date the notice was published?
January 25th, 2019, in the Des Moines Register.
Have we received any written comments?
None, Your Honor.
Right now would be the time for anyone in the audience who would like to address the City Council on item 6I. All right, seeing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed. This is a resolution to approve the acquisition of agricultural property.
Move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Questions or comments? All right, please vote.
Four yes.
Item 7, new business. 7A, Microsoft DSM 09-10, southwest corner of the future extension of Veterans Parkway and Interstate 35, subdivide property into 2 lots, 2 street lots, and 1 outlot for construction of a data center and electrical substation. Microsoft Corporation. It's a resolution to approve the preliminary plat, and there are no outstanding issues.
Move approval of the preliminary plat.
Second.
Questions or comments? All right, please vote.
Four yes.
7B, Iowa Clinic Phase 3, 5950 University Avenue, approval of a 3-story medical clinic addition and a 4-tier parking deck addition, Iowa Clinic Westlakes 1 LLC. It's a resolution to approve the major modification. There are no outstanding issues.
Move approval.
Second.
Questions or comments? All right, please vote.
You just say it's going to be a great addition when it's done.
Four yes.
You know, these new medical facilities are a huge reason why our community is getting these really national awards about great places to live and retire and stuff.
Right.
It's the access to so many good current state-of-the-art medical facilities, and this clearly is another one of those assets in our community, so it would be great.
Absolutely. Plus the doctors in this facility also help to, I think, provide some of the doctors in the hospitals that we have here too. So.
All right, item 7C, Mills Ridge Plata Survey, 1144 and 1158 of Riddell Street, adjust property line between 2 existing lots by 2 feet, Mill Ridge Homes LLC. It's a resolution to approve and release of Plata Survey, and there are no outstanding issues.
Move approval.
Second.
Questions or comments? All right, please vote.
Four yes.
A 7D, Hans Severance, located at Southeast 35th Street and North Fernwood Drive in Cumming, request for voluntary severance from corporate limits Big Otter Creek LLC. It's a resolution to approve of a voluntary severance. And the parcel that's being severed is not buildable in the city of West Des Moines, as I understand it. So they want to sever it to Cumming.
Move approval.
Second.
Questions or comments? All right, please vote.
Four yes.
70, Amendment 3 to Coach Light Drive Urban Renewal Area, city initiated. The first item is a resolution to approve the urban renewal plan amendment, and there are no issues.
Move approval to the amendment.
Is there a second?
Second.
Questions or comments on the urban renewal plan amendment? All right, please vote.
Four yes.
All right, E2 is an ordinance for the first reading.
Move consideration of the first reading.
Second.
Questions or comments on the ordinance? All right, please vote.
Four yes, an ordinance deleting property from the tax increment financing district for the Coach Light Drive urban renewal area of the city of West Des Moines, Iowa.
Move approval of the first reading.
Second.
All right, please vote.
Four yes.
Item 8, receive, file, and/or refer. There are no items. Item 9, other matters. 9A, legislative update. Jamie?
Jamie Letstring, Deputy City Manager. I'll be brief this evening, just a couple to let you know about. House Study Bill number 3 came out of subcommittee. That's a bill which would require or states that members of utility board can only be removed from their post at their at the end or conclusion of their term, barring any legal situations that person may be in. The city is registered opposed. We'll just have representation from Davis Brown, as our other lobbyist, Julie Smith, is conflicted out on that issue. House Study Bill 38 on the allowance of stand-up scooters. The city will register undecided and begin to weigh in on some of that legislation.
And I think Jim and Kevin and I were on that conference call, and I think we all support that way of getting around our community. I think it's been very well received around the country, and actually we want to help facilitate the ordinance so that it allows electric scooters to be used, but in order to offer our insights so that it can be used in the community in a responsible way.
It hasn't been very well received around the country. If I'm
There've been issues in Nashville and other places where
So
they're
I've been
looking
in
at.
the last 3 months to Paris, New York, Washington D.C., Chicago, a lot of places that have them, and it has not been well received. So the companies come in and they kind of just drop them, and then people can take them wherever, and then at the end of the night, they collect them and put them back in another place.
Well, two things. One, the people I've talked to that have used them love them. I mean, people rent bikes here. It's the same
Yeah.
thing, except it's an electric scooter. The challenge is how do you manage it, and that's
Yep.
what we're trying to help
Yep.
with.
Right.
So the people like access to it. The challenge is the management of it, and that's why we want to help make it so that it's manageable. But it's no different than people renting bikes here.
Yeah,
You have a lot of people that don't want to ride a bike, but they'd love to use an electric scooter.
not weighing in one way or another on the legislation. I mean, I'd agree with you. This is when we're talking about modernizing DART services. Not that we're going to have, people instead of riding buses, ride the scooters, but we're looking at all kinds of different modes of transportation. If somebody gets off the bus and, needs transportation, there's a bike that they can use, or a scooter, or a Lyft, or an Uber. You've seen in some cities where they've got these cars that, I don't know what they're called, but you can rent these cars as well with your,
Cars.
what is it, a smart car?
Zip cars.
Zip car, right. So we're looking, we want DART to explore all of these different options. So, I mean, this could be,
But again, without registering for it,
Another
we don't have a,
And that's why we registered
Done.
undecided,
Yeah.
because we want to
Learn
help try
more.
to create it.
Right, we gotta have some-
so that it's workable.
have a say in it.
Okay?
House Study Bill number 2 on alternative project delivery methods for contractors, for government agencies, kind of allowing cities to, since we're no longer allowed to conduct business using the lease purchase model. This is a design build model that cities could participate in. We've registered in favor, as many other municipalities are as well. All bills related to ATE or automated traffic enforcement, we are monitoring those as we have a significant camera system, but we use it for different purposes of traffic flow and congestion relief. We're just monitoring those to ensure that our ability to maintain the camera system isn't placed into jeopardy. The bill we spoke about 2 weeks ago regarding the election for county assessors is dead. And that is all I have unless.
Okay. Questions for Jamie?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any council member want to raise any other matter tonight? No?
I guess the only thing I would say is, are you guys comfortable with me supporting the DART budget with the increase of 2.5 cents? No, you are not. Renee?
I think you've worked hard at trying to
Yeah.
come up with.
I mean, like I said, they've got the Medicaid issue. They've got the study put in there so that we can look at modernizing the services.
And remind me, they can go up to 95 cents, and where are we at now? Yeah, where are we at now, though? We're not close to that yet.
70-something, 76, 78.
So they're still well within their current authorization.
And this will not have Des Moines max out either. They will still be underneath the cap. The only one that's maxed out and has been is Windsor Heights.
Russ, you
So-
talked about that with the Medicaid, that it's the way they're coding it.
There's a
Coding
loop.
it wrong, that's why
No,
they're.
there's a loophole. There's a certain, if you're a Medicaid patient through the MCOs, you're supposed to be reimbursing DART based on a certain level, but there's also another type of ride that you can take, which is only, I think one level's like $28 for the ride, the other one's $3.50.
So,
And the way that they're doing it is the $3.50 ride, and we're losing out on that revenue. It has something to do with not only state law, but federal law that needs to be changed. And
So
so
our
we're-
Alliance guys are having the same issue, because I just had an EMS Alliance meeting last week or this week. And, the city's not raising our levy because of that. So, I mean, we're having the same issue with Medicaid right now as a city on the reimbursement for that.
There are a lot of cities having this issue, a lot of transit authorities having this issue across the country. I mean, it's something that probably, they're looking at addressing this with the legislature, but when we ask what's the solution to it, I mean, they need to bring in the federal delegation as well to take a look at this and kind of change the way that people on Medicaid are able to.
Yeah, so it's
Because
not,
of the
to
system for
Kevin's
rides.
point, though, it's not a mistake. They're doing
No.
it right. They just happened to look at it closer than the prior people and said, here's where it needs to be coded, and there's this big revenue hit. So I know DART looked at whether or not they could change it, and it requires federal legislation to change it. Medicaid providers have figured out this is the appropriate way to do it, and it was different than what was being done before, but it's not a mistake.
That's what
They
I
have to
understood
change
you to
the
say, was
rules.
they were
Right.
coding it wrong.
No,
So it's not that.
being coded wrong. It's that they should be being reimbursed for this certain ride, and they're being reimbursed a different way. And it's totally allowed under the system. It just shouldn't be happening. So we're losing about $500,000 a year in that, and there's nothing we can do on that. And
Yeah,
then,
I mean, 4 years ago, we lowered our levy by 5 cents here in West Des Moines. And the same night, the Dallas County supervisors raised theirs by 5 cents. So I went home and I was
Right.
high-fiving my wife and everything. And the next morning, I read the paper and I was like, oh my gosh,
Right.
Yeah,
half my Ward 2 constituents just had a net tax wash, even though we did our work to
Right.
lower it.
I guess the way I'm looking at it is that we've got this issue with Medicaid that we can't change. We're losing $500,000 a year. We've got money in the budget to be able to modernize the services and do the study that we all want them to do to try to be more efficient, more effective with the delivery of services. And that's 1.3 cents. And then getting up to the 2.5 is they've got IT that's outside, contracted IT. It's going to be a little bit extra to bring them in-house, but it has to deal with security, and they want to do that. It's very difficult to contract for this currently. And then there's a planner that they need to hire and a couple other positions that are pretty integral to the operation of DART. So what I felt is that they were pretty lean on their budget in what they were proposing. And unfortunately, given what we have, it ends up being an increase of 2.5 cents.
Here's another challenge they have, is that there's so much TIF and abated property that they don't get any of that growth. So the city of Moines, a large area of their downtown is either one of them. So, and that would be nice if the TIF property for all of us, we could take their levy against that. That would help their budget, I think, fairly significant.
And I think the total increase is a $2 million increase at 6%. Without the Medicaid issue, it would be like 4.5%. So I thought it was pretty reasonable, but if you guys don't want me to support it, I won't support it. Renee, you're okay with it, John? You are not?
Where you at, Kevin?
I'm not crazy about it. Where are they at I know in previous years, they were paying off a lot of bus pedestrian accidents. Are they still having those issues?
I don't think so.
Are they still
I
trying to
think-
pay off that stuff, and that's why
No,
their
no,
budget's lopsided?
no.
No, when I was on there, they got the right kind of insurance to take care of that. They were
Okay.
basically self-insured before, so that wasn't the issue.
Well, I don't like it, but given the fact that, if what you say is true, and I gotta believe it is, that it's the Medicaid issue, then I don't know that we've got any choice but to do it. No, I think we need to work with the state and feds to get that
Yep.
changed. Maybe that's something we can work on out
Yep.
when we go to DC, get that
I agree.
resolved.
So Russ, you probably ought to call Jim
Yeah,
and visit with Jim.
I will do that.
Anyone else want to raise any other matter? Okay, we're adjourned.